This past week, we were granted the first American television interview with a man recently released from Guantanamo, whose case went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. After spending more than 7 years in U.S. detention, Lakhdar Boumediene has quite a story to tell. It's a story at odds with the message we got recently when we toured the facility, that the new Guantanamo is safe and humane and transparent. Algerian-born, Boumediene was a humanitarian worker in Bosnia when the United States ordered him arrested on his way to work in 2001 after 9/11. The United States said it had intelligence that he was planning a terrorist attack. He ended up in Guantanamo Bay and says he was mistreated and humiliated throughout his detention. The U.S. government no longer defends its original intelligence information. And after winning the right for access to federal courts in a landmark Supreme Court case known as Boumediene versus Bush, a judge reviewed the evidence and ordered him released. But that didn't mean he was free to go, because no country would take him. Boumediene says his mistreatment continued up to the moment of his release.
They lie. They lie. Nothing changed in Guantanamo. Nothing. The same rules. They tortured me in the Obama time more than Bush, more than him.
Boumediene's lawyer says this should be taken in full context and with perspective. He says his client isn't talking about torture like one of the interrogation techniques practiced under the Bush administration at Guantanamo, like sleep deprivation or exposure to cold. Those techniques were outlawed by the Obama administration. But Boumediene says despite the rules change, guards and medical professionals at Guantanamo continued to behave sadistically towards the detainees, even after they entered the officially free for release but nowhere to go category. A military investigation could not substantiate Boumediene's claims. This is the area of Guantanamo journalists are now allowed to see, and the military says it now runs a humane facility in compliance with international and U.S. laws. But according to Boumediene, there are other areas where he says torture was practiced for years. Even though that fact has now been acknowledged by the United States government, Lakhdar Boumediene is one of the first to go on record with an account of what he says happened behind closed doors, what journalists and the public never saw.
They started torturing me in 2003, exactly I think in February or beginning March.
Boumediene says his interrogations included threats that were an affront to his religious beliefs.
The interrogator was military. He told me, if you can't talk with me now, I will send you to American jail over there. They will fuck you, they will.
But he says there was also physical pain. For example, Boumediene says he was forced to run with his legs in shackles to soften him up for interrogation.
The big soldier, they make me running with them by shackles, leg shackles, and if I will be tired, they will pull me on floor. All my legs bleeding, but they don't care to me.
And according to Boumediene, all this was overseen by a military doctor.
He told them he's all right. You can continue with him. I hear that. He tell them, this doctor, listen to me, he's doctor. You know what I mean, doctor? He told them you can continue.
Boumediene went on a hunger strike, and he says the same doctor threatened to allow soldiers, not nurses, soldiers, to inject him with an IV.
He told me, if you don't eat, I will let the soldier, not nurse, the soldier, make the IV. I thought he's just joking.
But Boumediene says he found out the next day the doctor wasn't joking and let a guard administer the IV.
All people, they know the IV in vain. They know. But the guard tried to put the shock, the IV shock on my muscles, and he makes, not on muscles, on bone. He hurt me.
Absolutely not. Unequivocally, absolutely not. No torture in Guantanamo.
Navy Rear Admiral David Thomas has run Guantanamo for the last year. He categorically denies Boumediene's allegations of torture.
You've no doubt heard character described somewhere along the line as not what you do when people are looking, but how you behave and how you act when no one's looking. Well, most of the time, no one's watching over the shoulder of these guards. I've seen wonderful character displays in the past. I've never seen character like I see it every day here in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. It is safe and humane. Everything we do here is safe and humane. It's legal. It's in accordance with international law, U.S. law, Department of Defense policy, Army field manuals, the Geneva Convention, Common Article 3. And it's transparent. It couldn't possibly be more transparent. I'm really proud of what we do here. I'm extraordinarily proud of the young men and women that work with me every day, keeping the detainees safe and treating them humanely.
But Boumediene says that he spent years in isolation, in cold cells with little clothing. According to his account, interrogators insisted he confess to links to Al-Qaeda, links he says never existed.
Yeah, the doctors and the interrogator and the guards, all they talks, they have just one subject: to tell them I am from Al-Qaeda. They can't tell. They refuse to help me because they told me you are not cooperating. I can't tell them I am from Al-Qaeda. I can't. I am innocent.